I'm not gonna throw out a pint of triple chocolate ice cream just because some 13-year-old stuck his fingertip in the top of the ice cream. Screw you, 13-year-old. Anyway. Hello and welcome to Madoka Magicast. It's the podcast devoted to the Dark Magical Girl franchise based on Puella Magi Madoka Magica. Yes, that is what it's called. And its spin-offs, including Magia Record. I am your host, Amanda, and I am here joined by my co-hosts, Yasha and Vanna. Hello, girls.
Hi.
Hello.
They are the owners of the biggest revolutionary girl Utena website, Empty Movement, and they were newcomers to the show. We have now watched all of the show and the movie, and we are playing, two of us out of the three are playing the gacha game, and we're watching Magia Record, and so I guess we're all fans now.
Yeah, yep. I wouldn't say we're amateurs anymore.
No, we're not amateurs
not really.
anymore. Yeah. And this is the podcast where we talk about Madoka Magica, and we talk about all the things that we love and don't love about the show. And today, as our listeners will probably notice, all three of us are exhausted right now. So if I sound like I'm blabbering and blathering on and saying things that are not funny, or
I feel like our best episodes are when we're in some way like super exhausted or
maybe
unfocused.
Really drunk or really stoned.
Yes. We were going to earlier, I got an outline for this episode today together, and as I was making it, I was like, I don't think this is going to be a very long episode tonight. We're not going to get through all of this. Well, let's see what happens. But yeah, we are very tired today. This is the first time we've recorded since, I think, the beginning of January.
Yeah,
right?
I think
so.
So.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it is early March.
I think I just fell off Magia Record.
Well, what happened
it's turning out to more of a slog than I thought it was going to be.
What happened? Well, we will get to that.
Yeah,
we're gonna address that in a second. What happened was we still had the end of Rebellion. I still had the end of Rebellion to do YouTube videos of and post when we started watching Magic Echo. Mm-hmm. So we had recorded a bunch of Magic Echo episodes. So we had like 5 or 6 episodes like ready to go. Mm-hmm. And so even though last time we recorded was in January, we've posted like 4 or 5 episodes since then, where we haven't recorded in that time.
We've just had a lot.
Yeah, so that's why it feels like it's been forever. Do you guys have any fun life updates? I know you guys got to meet with Panda and Aaron, which our listeners will also know because the merch episode has gone up as of the time this episode is on. Yes. How was that? Was that fun?
That was a lot of fun.
It was.
Yeah.
I'm so sad I didn't get to join you guys.
Yeah,
I know.
No, that would have been great. But, no, Erin's a total sweetheart in person. Panda we'd met before in Tokyo. And, I mean, obviously she's amazing. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, I made dinner and I don't even remember what I made anymore.
I don't either. We cook so much, it's hard to pick it, like, narrow down to any one particular event. But, it was fun recording with her and stuff, so. Oh, yes, that's right.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, looking at the merch was kind of an adventure. I
have since actually acquired real merch, though.
Yeah.
We now have Cubase glass, like drinking glass.
Is it the one where he appears when it's hot on the back?
Nope, it's like a long, like, tumbler, like a highball glass, and it's just like all of these little, like, shadows of him.
Frosted Cubase faces all
with
over
only
it.
one of them having his red eyes. Yeah, it's very creepy. And
that's cute. I really wanted that Bebe mug that you guys saw.
It's cute. And then another one has a Homo Lily walking across the glass, and I'm like, fun, lighthearted content.
That's what I like on my drinking glasses, executions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's just that lighthearted Madoka Rebellion energy that everyone loves.
Yeah, it's great. Well, that's cool.
Oh, and we got the bullet hole cube.
Oh, yes.
Finally.
They found a good use for riddled with bullet holes cube.
I want that.
They're so cute.
They are cute.
It's supposedly like an earphone cord holder, like you're supposed to wrap your earbuds in it, because the bullet holes have 2 grooves for it, and it just looks like there's nothing different about those grooves because, again, he's riddled with bullet holes.
Will you guys send me photos of all of these things?
Absolutely.
In Discord so that I can include photos of them, also because I want to see them.
They're cute.
I had an adventure today. I lost electricity in my house for 5 hours.
You're in Florida.
Yeah, above ground electrical lines in Florida. Hooray.
Excellent.
Yeah, I remember electricity being kind of a luxury there, too.
Yeah.
Ever since Hurricane Andrew.
Yes. So this is...
Great.
Panda, you could probably edit this part out, because this is one of those things where I didn't want to repeat myself. Or don't edit it out if you think it's funny. But when I was editing the video for the merch episode, like, I just think it's funny, because the reason I suggested that you guys do that is to, like, give me a little bit of extra time to work on podcast stuff that didn't involve recording. And do you have any idea how long it took me to censor all of the doujin covers and pornography that's screen recording, you guys?
Well, we didn't intend it to be a screen recording to begin with.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Look, we weren't even trying.
I'm not blaming you or complaining. I think it turned out fine. I just think it's so funny.
It's the merch.
Well, I basically had to... Every time I had to censor something, I basically had to use the video editor's animation effect to put something over it. And when you do that, you have to go frame by frame to move it. So every time I had to put an image over something, and then some shots would have 4 or 5 thumbnails of doujin covers. So I would have to.
Sorry.
I had to. It's okay. I'm sitting there.
I'm just seeing this as like the worst. Like,
well, and the video's an hour long. So I'm sitting there like in a coffee shop today because I have no electricity at my house, and I'm like hunched over my laptop, and I'm like frame by frame editing these censor images over like this pornographic doujin covers on Mandarake. It's like Jesus Christ.
Powerful.
It's okay. I still had fun with it.
What we do for podcasts.
Yeah. Braver than the troops, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a treat, but
oh, I'm sure.
It was actually great.
Thank you for your service.
By the end of it, I had definitely mastered that effect in video editing.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. This podcast has taught me slowly how to use my editing program. So
there you go.
Yeah, every time I like step by step, I'm learning how to use the effects, because when you like, I don't know if you guys know how to like do video editing, but I didn't know how to do any kind of video editing before I started doing this, which is why all the videos were all so simple. First going up on YouTube. So every time I have to learn how to do something, it's like it takes me. I have to look up a tutorial.
It's so unintuitive. I find video editing very unintuitive.
Oh, it's horrible. Or like, there's so many keyboard commands that if you like mistype something, like it can totally screw up your workspace or your UI, or like a window disappears, and then it's like,
and then you can't find it again.
Yeah, sometimes if you hit undo, it fixes it, and then sometimes it doesn't, and then you're like, oh fuck, what the fuck did I just do? How do I fix it?
I know.
Yes. So, but that's okay because I'm slowly learning how to. So basically, doing that video taught me how to put an image into the video and then animate it around the screen. So I basically mastered how to do that.
I hope it was like a clown face or something.
What was it?
I mean, it's not a, like, Panda can edit this part out because the video will be up by the time this goes up. But to censor the images, I'll put into Discord the images I used as censor bars. You guys are going to think this is funny. Hold on. Just going to take me a second to get them. Okay, here's one of them.
Nice. That's amazing. Go to jail.
Go to jail.
That's the Monopoly go to jail, isn't it?
Yes. There's one. Do you guys know about the old 4chan meme for the Madoka Magicast 4chan thread from like
I've seen pictures of it.
Yeah, there's one post from that where it's a off-model screenshot of Sayaka from the show, and the text next to it is "Why this?" Just
yeah, I remember that.
I used that to censor. I used that one screenshot, that fake screenshot of Miyazaki saying anime was a mistake as a censor bar. Yeah,
I'm disappointed that's fake.
Yeah,
yeah. So I had fun. Like, I did have fun censoring things, but it took me like
it's still a lot of work.
Fucking ever. Yeah, it was a lot of work. So anyway, it did not end up saving me time in the end, but I think it was still worth it. So
well, I'm glad it was worth it.
Yes. So as far as other life updates for me, I am going to my first Artists Alley in June.
Nice.
Yeah, which is a big deal for me. It's at a very, very small one-day local con here in Fort Myers, called Space Con. I don't know if any of our listeners are in Florida, but if anybody wants to come see me at SpaceCon in Fort Myers. It is on June 13th, Saturday. It's just one day.
Oh, wow.
It is very tiny. Fort Myers actually does not have a convention space. One is being built right now, so most likely the next one will be in that convention space next year. But for the past couple years, they've had this con in an old Arab Shriner, like, meeting hall. You know what I...
Yeah.
Those are the little... Those are the guys with the little Turkish hats in parades driving the little cars. Yeah. They have like some kind of meeting lodge, which is more like a I want to say it's more like the kind of places I used to go to for Girl Scout camp, where they have
I know those places.
Yeah, like it's more like a bunch of rooms and like they have a room with a stage and a big auditorium. And there's like a bar and a little place where you can order food. Like, it's not really a convention space. Like, you could not put a real big multiple day convention there. Yeah. But for a tiny, tiny little con like this, it does work. And also, they have very cheap drinks. So, because they have the Arab Shriner bar open. So you can get like...
Nice. You can get ripped at this place.
Yes, you can get a rum and coke, which they mix very strong for like $3. So
nice. Nice.
So you can get super smashed at this one day.
I'm surprised it's small then.
Yeah. It's just great. So I'm going to that in June. I'm super excited.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do that. It's very scary. I don't know. I've like just to I guess give some context. I am an attorney, but I always wanted to pursue art, and my life story is that my parents are crazy tiger mom parents who were super academics focused and basically told me you can't do that. So yeah. So like for me, it's like, yay, I'm gonna do art things! Hooray!
That's awesome.
No, that's great.
That's
really wonderful, actually.
Thank you. I'm very excited. So that is kind of what I've been doing with the free time that we've had not recording, because the con is so small and I've never done something like this before, and I don't really do commissions or sell merch online. So I have like no idea what to make or bring with me, and I don't want to like make a bunch of shit that I can't get rid of afterwards, because I don't have like a pre-established store that I'm going to be able to like sell it at after the con's over. So you know what I mean? So I've just been trying to do research and figure that out. So yes, which I wanted to bring that up because that's going to kind of transition us into our next topic here of the podcast itself and like what's been going on with it, because we have recorded episode 3 of Magireko. That episode has not gone up yet. We haven't recorded any Magireko episodes past episode 3. And if I can be honest with you, I have not watched any Magireko episodes past episode 3.
Either.
You guys haven't either?
We watched 4 because I did the outline for it.
Oh,
that's it.
That's it.
Okay. It's bad. It's just bad.
I will take your word for it. I did not hear good things about episode 4.
Oh, no, I just mean Magireko in general.
Okay.
Just being
I'm not a fan.
I'm not hearing good things, which makes me very sad, because I was really rooting
for
it.
Yeah.
So this is making me wonder, so between us kind of being busy and Magireko, like, kind of not being super hype after all, kind of make me wonder if we should wait until Magireko is over to continue covering Magireko. Should we do that? What do listeners think? Listeners, what do you guys think?
Yeah, honestly, it should be their call.
Yeah, tweet us. Yeah. Send us Curious Cat questions. Email us, let us know. Do you guys want us to keep going with Magireko? I mean, we're gonna cover it no matter what. Like, we're gonna watch it and talk about it.
We will muscle through this thing.
I mean, I'm about an inch away from hate watching at this point, so...
I mean...
Yeah. I wish it were better.
I wish it were better, too.
Maybe I'm just cranky today, I don't know.
I mean, I feel like if I have a chance to just watch it all the way through, so I already know where it goes and how it ends, and we get the chance to do that, and everybody else gets a chance to do that, then we'll be able to cover it for what it is, instead of having episodes about how disappointing it is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And like being able to talk about it for what it does right and what it does wrong.
More synthesis
instead of just having reaction podcast episodes where it probably would just devolve into, oh, the game was so much better, blah 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 blah. Yeah. Blah. You know, which we can get into in episodes, but like
we'll definitely be repeating ourselves a lot if we keep on with
that. Yeah, so I don't know. How would you guys like us to proceed with that? Let us know your thoughts if you prefer anything. Another thing we could do is like one of the three of us could like not watch it and then be watching it blind.
I've already done the blind thing I don't know how many times, so I'm recusing myself from that. You guys can...
Yeah, I mean...
One of you can watch it blind.
I keep forgetting which one it is, but which one of you was it that's not playing the game?
I'm not. Vanna's not.
Oh, maybe Vanna could not watch it. And then
I could be the blind person.
Whoever would have more fun with it, to be honest.
Well, I have played so much of the game, so it wouldn't really be blind for me necessarily.
And it won't be blind for Yasha either. I have nothing... I have no knowledge of the game at all.
Okay, so...
There's Q-Babby and that's really about it.
Yeah, so maybe that's an option. Like, what do the listeners think? How about we do that? Maybe Vanna could not watch the show at all, not play the game at all, and then she would be watching it blind when we did cover Magireko later, and then me and Yasha would have watched the entire anime. You know, we're playing the gacha game, so we're familiar with the gacha game story.
And I can complain about, what's this? And y'all will know and won't tell me.
Yeah. Another thing to consider is that we still have the different story manga to cover, which is a Patreon
I'm actually
goal.
looking forward to that.
Yeah, so. I'm really looking forward to that. And, you know, it's just a matter of us sitting down, reading it, taking notes, and just recording those episodes. So, you know, if I'm honest, I'm a little bit more hyped to do those episodes instead of more Magireko right now.
Yeah. Honestly. Honestly.
It might be more fun to do that. So, yeah, let us know what you think. Another thing is, I don't know if I have shown you guys this yet. Our listeners might not have noticed it yet either, because it was only in the last video I uploaded. But I drew us a new end card for all of our videos, including doodles of the three of us, and I thought you guys would appreciate it. It's very
cute. I'm benching my cat.
Yes.
I'm deadlifting my cat.
Yasha is Bergen.
I'm Bergen.
Bergen. Yeah, extreme Bergen.
I don't even know what happened that day, but I was just so...
I know, we just needed burgers, okay? We're like ordering while we're on the, like, no, I can't wait, we need burgers.
I got to you last, and I forget where I was when I was drawing this, but I, like, didn't have internet, and I wanted to draw you with your other cat, but I had no idea what your other cat looked like, and I, like, couldn't ask you or, like, message you guys, and I wanted to just finish this, so instead I drew you with a burger.
That's fine.
I like it.
You know, it's basically... It's a good tribute to her anyway, since she would also
want the burger.
Okay, there you go.
The burger is sweet in spirit.
Yes.
That is adorable. I love it.
That is our new end title card. Also, next topic. Sorry that we're like, we have so much of this stuff to talk about, guys. This is like all just like housekeeping stuff that I've been.
It's totally housekeeping.
Get to, yeah.
I mean, it's better to have an episode every once in a while where we just get all the housekeeping out of the way, though.
Yeah. Another thing on the list here to mention is that we are going to have another guest episode coming up, and since we were pretty hard on Rebellion, myself especially, I thought it might be fun to have an episode where we talk about why Rebellion is good, actually. And I will not introduce our upcoming guest prematurely, but they are a professed Rebellion fan, and they have offered to come on the show to talk about why they love Rebellion. And we want to hear from you guys, too. So if you are a Rebellion fan, and you're feeling a little chafed about how hard we were on Rebellion. I mean, I was hard on Rebellion, but I was also... I was venting a lot of 8 years of pent up
it was just
frustration with it.
Festering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I mean, like, it is a piece of media. Everybody's view of it is valid. And to be honest, sounds like you didn't get a lot of, like, validation that way, so.
We will validate it, actually.
I am eating ice cream. Thank you, guys.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
We can have a Rebellion Stan episode.
I think there were a lot of good things about Rebellion that maybe didn't get quite as much attention as they should have. And
exactly.
I love the fucking movie, so...
Yeah, so we're gonna have an episode devoted to why it is good, actually. So we want to hear from you guys. So we want to hear why you love Rebellion. So we are opening our inbox. Well, it's always open, but this is an invitation for emails, invitation for tweets. Yeah, invitation. There's a high likelihood, unless we are swamped, there's a high likelihood that your thoughts will be read and discussed on the show. Send us an email, madokamagicast@gmail.com, Madoka Magicast on Twitter, curiouscat.me/madokamagicast. Where else can people contact us? I don't know. Come and find us. I'll post to the YouTube comment section on any of the Rebellion episodes.
Pretty much, if you're listening to us, then you have a way to post at us.
There's probably directly next to a way to get to us.
Yeah, you can post it in the comments on SoundCloud. Just, let us know why you love Rebellion. Try to keep the comments not too long. I have noticed that when it comes to Rebellion, people tend to get long. That's okay. Rebellion is good, actually, and it makes people think a lot of things and have a lot to say. But try not to make it too long, because we do want to be able to include everybody. But send us your thoughts. There's a good chance that we will talk about them in a future episode.
Cool.
And finally, there is a possibility that the show will go on hiatus again in a little bit. In the same way that we had a hiatus. Well, just I'll get there. In that way that we kind of had a hiatus in the fall. As somebody put it, I think on YouTube, it's like we had a season 1 and then took a break.
Yeah.
That might become necessary as we get closer to that convention I'm going to, if I need more time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Also, by the time we get the different story episodes done, and these few more episodes done, we'll be at about the same number of episodes that we got done before that last hiatus. So I guess.
Oh, there you go.
That would be about a season 2. So there might be another 1 month or month and a half hiatus again after that. We don't really know. If that does happen, we will say so on the show instead of just letting it happen like last time. You will know this time instead of what happened last time, which was not intentional. This time it will be intentional, and this time it will be announced ahead of time. So we're not going to do what we did last time. I still feel bad about that.
I think it's a good idea to plan these things ahead of time instead of just being like, well, we'll see how we feel or whatever.
Exactly.
Like, just straight up, we might as well say, this is a thing. This is going to happen. Because it's good to take breaks.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to get burned out.
Yeah, exactly. So, we'll just see how that goes and proceed onward after that. Anyway, we have a few more housekeeping things to do, but why don't we address that afterwards and after...
we can hit that up at the end.
Yeah, let's hit that up at the end. So, I wanted to talk about some interesting comments and questions that we have got since the last YouTube comments episode that we did. So, we got an interesting message from patron Sailor Cosmo. They are a $10 patrons. Thank you so much, Sailor Cosmo. I think they might be one of the new patrons that's going to get thanked later, so ahead of time, thank you, Sailor Cosmo, for being a $10 patron. You are awesome.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
thank you.
Among some other things, this is part of what they had to say. I have a small question for you all. There is a Madoka concept trailer that was released in 2015. I always thought they were turning it into a full movie, but I haven't heard anything about it since, and now we have Magia Record. Could you possibly watch and talk about the concept movie in a future episode? I would love to hear any thoughts or theories. Have you guys heard of the concept movie? The concept
I have not heard of this, no.
So Shaft, made I don't want to call it a fake trailer, but they animated a trailer. They didn't animate an episode or a movie. They didn't actually animate the thing that the trailer is for. They just animated a trailer.
Yeah, like a proof of concept kind of thing.
Yeah, I kind of want to call it a fake trailer, quote, quote. For a sequel to Rebellion or some kind of spin-off of continuation of either the anime or some kind of new Madoka Magica thing, essentially. And they came out in 2015, and I think it was shown at some kind of Shaft exhibit where they did an exhibit of a bunch of animation cells or something, and then it was shown off to a very select number of people, but I think the trailer is online that people can see. And people thought that it was they were hinting that they were actually going to do that and make a movie or something, but they never did anything with it. So people have been speculating essentially ever since then. So that was 5 years ago.
So it's definitely not happening then, but
well, we don't know. I'm guessing
know.
It's not happening. It's been 5 years. Yeah.
I mean, it might have just been shelved.
Yeah, that's true. Decide on what Magia Record is.
So, yeah, I mean, we could definitely do an episode about that. That would be fun. Anyone listening to this who knows a lot about that concept trailer, if you would like to come on the show to be a guest for that, send us an email.
I'd love to watch this concept trailer and do an episode on it.
I've actually never seen it, although I've seen tons of screenshots and I know what's in it. So it would definitely be fun.
I have not heard of it, so
yeah,
cool.
Sailor Cosmo also says, "Thanks for all the content. Also, please let Yasha and Vanna know that I am 16 episodes into Revolutionary Girl Utena and I am loving it."
Congrats, man! You got past the first arc, so you're definitely in.
The worst episode is coming up though, and by worst I mean most emotionally.
Oh yeah.
Sailor Cosmo, let us know if you're okay after episode 22 or
20,
so.
Yeah, 19 and 20.
I'm not mentioning which episode it is, so that's not the right one. But after about episode 22 or so, just call us and tell us if you're alive.
Let's check in.
So thank you very much for your question and comments, Sailor Cosmo, and thank you again for being a patron. Patron Robert, our awesome all-star patron Robert, has this question for us. Which voice actress voices Madoka better? Christine Marie Cabanos from the dub, or Aoi Yuki in Japanese? I would love to know your thoughts. You guys haven't listened to the dub.
No.
I have not, no.
No.
I've heard a couple of clips of it, and I actually remember thinking it wasn't as bad as,
I mean, we've heard some legendarily bad
dubs.
We
have heard 90s dubs.
Yeah.
Mostly, which is probably why we don't listen to dubs.
I have watched the Madoka dub. I personally love the Madoka dub. Whenever I rewatch the show, I always watch the dub. I have watched it in Japanese many times, but nowadays, when I rewatch it, I always watch the dub. Just because, first of all, it lets me, put it on in the background while I'm working on other things. So I can, it lets me, just put it on and I can be drawing or doing dishes or something. So I do the same thing with Sailor Moon. If I put it on, I put it on in English so that I can have it on in the background while I'm doing something. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but also, if it's on the dub, then I can, watch what's happening. Give the visuals my full attention.
Right.
And I have no problem reading subtitles at all. I'm not an anti-subtitles person. But it is nice to have your eyes freed up to just soak in the witch labyrinths and the animation and everything going on, you know?
Yeah, especially with Madoka.
Yeah, and when I introduce the show to my friends who are like anime but they're not hardcore anime fans, I always have them watch the dub for that reason. Because it lets you just watch. And I think that dub Madoka does a pretty good job. I like all of the dub voices. They're all really good. Dub Sayaka is excellent. She does an incredible job. Her voice fits her very well. She has a very, what's the right word to say? She has like a nerdy girl voice. Like a more tomboyish nerd girl voice. Like it fits her really well.
Yeah, that sounds like it does.
Yeah, the only voice that's maybe a little weak is Mommy's. Like it fits her.
Yeah, well, she doesn't last very long.
Well,
so.
it fits her really well. But I don't think that the dub voice actress necessarily has a huge range. So, like, for example, in the scene where she goes insane and kills Kyoko, like in that one episode,
yeah,
she doesn't really, the voice actress doesn't really sell it with her voice, in the same way that the Japanese VA does. Like in Japanese, that is really horrible.
Yeah, it's heart-wrenching.
yeah. And the voice actresses really sell. Like everything in that Homura flashback episode is really well voiced. And that is a little bit weaker because some of that is not quite the same kind of quality performance. And the woman who voices Homura is Christina V, if you guys are familiar with Christina V. She is a pretty well-known voice actress for anime dubs. She does Sailor Mars. She is great. I love her. She does an excellent Homura, and she does a fantastic job as Homura. She has like a very smooth and cool sounding voice, but it's the kind of voice that when she's Pigtails Homura, it works as like a shy and meek kind of person at the same time. And she sounds menacing and cold when she needs to. And then like in episode 10, she's doing as good of a job as the Japanese voice actress with like
that's awesome.
Being mega traumatized. You know what I mean? So she does a fantastic job in the dub. So sorry to get off on a crazy tangent here because you're asking about Madoka's voice actress. I think Madoka's voice actress does a fine job.
That's awesome.
I don't know if I have a strong opinion about either voice actress, to be honest.
Not all dub.
Yeah, they're fine.
We'll have to get back to you on that.
Yeah.
We'll have to check out the dub and see what we think.
Yeah, I think the dubs are quite good. Also, Robert posts these incredibly cute... I'm just gonna link the Patreon community tab to you guys, because Robert loves posting these adorable little collage pictures he makes. He's a big Fire Emblem fan, and we brought up Fire Emblem in the past. I'm not super familiar with it, but apparently he loves Fire Emblem, and he posts these little collage pictures of Magireku characters and Fire Emblem characters on the community tab, and they're really cute, and he just kind of is posting them. So they're just very fun. If you guys people listening want to see them, you can check them out on the community tab. I don't know, they're just really adorable. And also, there was one more thing. He sent us a really cool... So I did a commission for him, because he is a $30 patron, because, $30 patrons get chibi commissions in the same style as the ones that we use for our avatars. And he actually used the commission that I did for him to make, like, a mock-up of a Memoria card, like a fake Memoria card from the gacha game.
Nice.
And I just wanted to share that with you guys. It was very cool. And I was like, wow, that is awesome. So here it is right here. That was the Fire Emblem character he requested. And he requested that Fire Emblem character with Iroha, like shaking hands like that.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, so I thought that was really cool that he did that.
That is adorable. Cool.
Yeah, so thank you so much.
I definitely recognize the character from Twitterverse.
Yeah.
I love how your name on that is like majorly bigger than all the other texts.
Thank you. My name should be the biggest thing on it.
That's right. Very cool.
Yes, thank you. So thank you so much, Robert, and thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. All right.
Oh my god.
No.
Wait a second.
Was that Sam?
Yeah.
Hi, Sam. Hi, Sam.
Yeah. Oh my god. I heard him on like your end, and I'm like, oh my god, he really is.
So loud. Hold on, my ice cream's melting. I gotta have a few spoonfuls here.
Hey Sam, are you gonna be good and be quiet?
Alright, so we did get some interesting comments on the Rebellion episodes, and some of them are comments defending the Rebellion movie, and those, we might want to save those for the Rebellion positivity episode, but some of them are more, not necessarily positive or negative, just general observations about the movie, stuff like that, and I thought we might want to talk about some of those. So this was a comment from YouTube user Zra Saba, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, and they wanted to comment on one thing we brought up, which was the idea that they made Kyubey less of a villain in the movies. Zra Saba said they watched Rebellion as a continuation of the series, never watching the first two movies myself. This is one of those things I brought up where a lot of people see the Rebellion movie that way.
Yeah.
As a re-examination of the series, Rebellion seemed to reject Kyubey as a neutral party. The series' end had him still around and everyone was okay with it. Homer told him about the past world, not seeing him as a potential threat anymore. And then, in Rebellion, Kyubey proves that actually you can't trust him. The incubators saw the system that Madoka's Wish created and thought, maybe we should make this worse for the people involved. They chose maximizing efficiency over minimizing suffering, and that kind of sucks. That's a villain move. Kyubey was never on the magical girl's side, and the first almost ending to Rebellion emphasized that. It showed him failing to manipulate the girls at the end, as a climax to their struggle with a neutral party that always saw them as expendable. It's kind of my favorite part to the movie. So to me, it looked like Rebellion decided that Kyubey, no matter how amoral they tried to present him, was still an antagonist. In that case, it doesn't make sense to make Kyubey less threatening in the first movies. That's super weird, and I hope you talk about Kyubey more in the next episodes of Rebellion. I hope that we satisfied your Kyubey discussion curiosity, but that is a really good point, because if Kyubey...
It is really weird.
Yeah, the only thing I can think is that it has to do with us feeling bad about Kyubey being all beat up at the end of Rebellion. I mean, is it that?
Like the first couple of movies, though, is when we were mostly talking about how they made Kyubey less of a villain.
Yeah, they took away a lot of, the shadowy shots.
Yeah, they took away a lot of the presentation that framed him as a villain while not changing any of his actions. And, that is a really weird choice to make if they are, Zra's right. If they're just going to go back and make Kyubey into an antagonist all over again anyway, so why did they even bother? So
unless it was, other direction entirely, and they removed all of that content to save space because they didn't think it was necessary to code him as a villain when he was going to do that just fine himself. Which to me is sad, because that was a lot of the strength of the series, was in that kind of visual language, but I could see cutting it for time.
The only other thing I can think of, and this makes no sense because everyone who saw these movies saw the anime, but this is the only other thing I can think of, that they made that change for the movie-only people, and that it was meant to be a bait and switch, where movie-only people would come out of the first two movies seeing Kyubey as not that threatening, and then...
You know what? That's probably exactly it.
And then when he became so evil in Rebellion, it would be more of a shock for them. But, again, this is something we brought up. Who are those movies made for? Because they're not a good version of the anime. There's so much missing from the anime.
Version of the anime.
Yeah, that was necessary for characterization and to help explain,
And the distance of, length is, it's not exactly like taking 30 episodes of an anime and compressing it into a couple movies. Really, for the amount that they cut, they lost a lot of material when you could have just sat down and watched the anime.
Yeah.
What did we figure out?
It's only half an hour less or something per movie.
Yeah, it's something like an hour total cut out.
They got to bling some of the stuff out or whatever. But with Kyubey, I
think that's
he's
exactly
definitely
it.
Yeah, he's definitely the villain in Rebellion as well. But he's not coded as clearly as that. Even in Rebellion, he doesn't have any moments where he steps on you.
Yeah.
He doesn't have
he doesn't have that moment
with Sayaka showing Madoka the miserable history of magical girls, but he's kind of getting off on it moment. He doesn't have that either. So there are definitely, evilness of Kyubey moments that are missing, but what they replace it with is so villainous anyway that I don't know what they were really...
And also, something that we've brought up already in the past is this idea that Rebellion was supposed to be movie universe, and that movie universe is separate from anime universe, and the fact that basically no one is aware of that, and how a lot of people just see Rebellion as a continuation of the anime, and a lot of people haven't even seen the first two movies. you know?
In that sense, maybe, like... I guess the difference could be that in this world, Kyubey doesn't know that he's an evil prick the way he was in Madoka's world, because he doesn't know anything about, what Kyubey was like in Madoka's world. So I guess if you wanted to be really charitable, you could call this, like, a different version of the arc where Kyubey becomes a dick.
I don't know,
But that's, like, the best I can come up with, is, like, trying to be like, maybe they were trying to depict Kyubey, like, what he was like before, because he wouldn't have had that sadistic willingness to send these girls into being witches, because that's not part of the bargain in this world. So he's not put in the same position to be that cruel. But then you find out he's that cruel anyway, because he's willing to try and trap the one to trap Madoka.
Yeah, so it's just like, why were these decisions made? That's just what it comes down to. It's just very strange. So I agree, it's super weird, Sarazaba, and we don't get it either. It makes you wonder.
It really makes you think.
Yeah. Let's see. I did see another thought down here. This was from frequent commenter Napak DT. He had something interesting to say about the rebellion leitmotif for Homura, the Mada Dameo song. Mada Dameo, Mada Dameo. Yeah. And then that song is also in Magireko as one of the menu songs. It's the da-na-na-na-na-na-na. You know that song?
Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah, that song comes up a lot in Rebellion. So it's that cute little song in the beginning, and then as Rebellion goes on, that song gets, like, creepy and weird. Basically.
Yeah.
Napak has this to say, Mada Dameo is definitely the leitmotif of Homura's world. A very quiet and mellow version of it also plays right in the prologue, Once We Were. The opening ballet scene, Nightmare Ballet, has some elements of it, as you pointed out. It is played in a rather ominous way when Homura becomes suspicious of her world. Everything is wrong. It is played when the world shifts to a more sinister vibe, and it is played when Homura turns into a witch and looms over the shifting cityscape. In a sense, I think I was kind of confused what these were, but I think these are track names from the OST. Maybe that's what these are. So, plays right in the prologue, Once We Were. When Homura becomes suspicious of her world, everything is wrong. When the world shifts to a more sinister vibe, Raise the Curtain, Never Get There. And it is played when Homura turns into a witch and looms over the shifting cityscape, Theater of a Witch. Mm-hmm. In a sense, the track always plays during scenes that directly involve Homura's fake city, but never in inwards-facing scenes about Homura herself. So it can be viewed as the theme of Homura's witch world, shifting and changing along with the changes in our perception of the world. So I really super love that song. And, this is a good point to bring up, because that is something I could talk about in the positivity episode, is the soundtrack, because it's so good.
Holy shit, this soundtrack.
Yeah, so that is a great thing to point out.
Yeah, absolutely, I like that.
When I first noticed that really soft, haunting, like, plinky version was the same song as that Mada Dameo song, when I actually realized, I didn't even notice that until, like, very recently. And I was like, my mind was blown. I was like, hold on a second. Is that the same song? It's just, like, slowed down a little bit, and, like, some of the notes are different at the end. I was like, whoa, it is the same. Yeah.
Very cool.
That's an excellent leitmotif.
It is.
Yes.
Seriously is.
That whole soundtrack is just amazingly done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a comment from... So I don't want to, I don't mean to call out this person for this comment. I won't name them either. I'm not trying to be mean or anything like that. But we did get a YouTube comment that I thought was maybe a bit... It smacked a bit of the kind of comments that were of the kind that where it's like, you don't understand Madoka Magica if you hate Rebellion. We got a comment that says, I think the movie is good if you actually understand and empathize with Homura as a character. Looking back at the main series, it's obvious that her entire wish was leading up to the ending events of Rebellion. And to disregard that ending is insulting to Homura's character as a whole. To be fair, I had the same initial reaction to Rebellion, but upon reanalyzing every second of the series, I came to realize its brilliance. So, I don't know. I just don't really like the tone of that kind of a comment, and that's the kind of thing I'm talking about, where, like, it's very difficult to criticize Rebellion and not often have people respond to you in that kind of way, where it's like,
I get you.
It's insulting to Homura's character to not like Rebellion. It's like
really tiresome to be told that it's a flaw in your understanding of something.
Yeah, Homer is my favorite character from the show. She's like in my top 5 favorite all-time fictional characters ever. So, no, I don't think it's insulting for me to not like Rebellion, dude.
No.
I'm looking up at a 10-inch figure of her on my desk right now. It's like 16 inches if you include the huge, gigantic bow she's like, no, dude, I really love Homer and I really like this show, so please don't tell me. I understand what you're trying to say. It's more like the responses who are defending the movie. Mm-hmm. The wording that they use is so strong that it comes off like you're leaving no room for disagreement.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's the thing about literary analysis of any kind. You have to be open to other people's opinions because that's where the actual value of work is in different people's opinions of it and in different ways of analyzing the same thing. So basically just saying this is all good or this is all bad is just reductive to begin with.
And saying things like, it's obvious that her entire wish was going to lead up to these events. It's like, it really wasn't, though, if you go back and watch the series. Yeah. And that's part of why I like the series, is because it is open to that kind of interpretation, so...
There's a lot of different ways that a lot of different things could have gone in the series. And, I mean, I was pretty happy with the way they chose for things to go, but at the same time, that was one of the things that I thought was evidence of how strong the series was, is that you really didn't know where things were headed, and you really didn't have any way of saying, okay, well, this is a good thing, or this is a bad thing, and being confident in your answer at any point. That's one of the strengths of the series is, and this is me saying this as somebody who tries to predict media, because storytelling. I like stories. I like to kind of sharpen my own understanding of them that way. But Madoka was very, very good about making its world seem like something where pretty much anything could happen.
Yeah.
So acting like it was on rails from the beginning is kind of like, well, I don't really think that, even if I'm of the same opinion that Rebellion is good, I don't really think I agree with the idea that there was only ever one place it could end up.
Yeah, and I'm coming from someone that actually agrees with that reading. So, my reading, I do think that the ending of Rebellion follows from the wish she makes at the beginning. Like, it makes sense to me.
It follows from, but it's not.
I'm not going to say it was the only outcome for it, or that there was no other possible interpretation of those events. Like, there's many points where it's deliberately vague about that sort of thing, and just because that's the reading that suited me doesn't necessarily mean that it's the canon reading. And if someone said it was the canon reading, I wouldn't care, and I'd just keep doing what I wanted.
Pretty much. I mean, in the Utena fandom, we get a lot of practice of just, like, looking at what other people say and being like, cool,
that's your version.
Yeah, I don't know. So, I just wanted to point that out. Again, I'm not, like, calling you names or anything, but I can kind of get what you're trying to say, but, maybe dial it back a little bit. I also, before we move on from this, I did just want to point out that the fact that Gen originally wrote a completely different ending to this movie and then changed the ending upon the request of the producer to be this, pretty much definitively disproves that this was the only possible way that the story was going to play out. So, that was not the original ending to the movie, so the creator himself did not envision this originally as this being the way in. So, no.
No. There's this, phenomenon I've noticed with especially, anime fans, specifically.
That might just be because of where we are, though.
Well, what I've noticed is that there's this tendency to not take anything that happened outside of the series as part of the influence of the series. Like when Takehito Koyasu has to leave for a season in Utena. So one of the major voice characters disappears, and most people read the series as if that was intended, when it is also but...
Is that why there's no toga for,
Yeah, he couldn't work on it.
He had to go AFK for a while.
Yeah.
That is really interesting.
Yeah. And I've noticed that other anime fans do this with other anime as well, is when there's a piece of information that would outwardly skew the final result, they get very resistant to accepting that as part of why it's there and want there to be this, grand genius plan and not sometimes you had to do a cheap episode, or sometimes one of your voice actors fucked off, or sometimes your producers crawled up your ass and decided the ending had to get changed. they don't want that to have happened. They like to imagine that this all just was born fully from Zeus's head or something like that. So, yeah, like, I like the ending of Rebellion just fine, but it's clearly not the only possible ending, because to me, I do think that that's relevant, that someone showed up and changed his ending on him, or insisted on a different ending, makes it like, yeah, then clearly this wasn't planned. But I've noticed that people have a resistance to accepting that as part of, like, the why of why canon exists. When, to me, it's like, how do you avoid that? But
yeah, I think it might be part of, if you really love Rebellion and the ending, and you really want to be defensive about it, I think it might be tempting to latch onto, it was meant to end this way, as a way to defend it, when it's kind of easy to argue against that. Anyway, that's enough of that. So, we will close out our episode here with a really interesting comment from YouTube user Eggavans. I hope I'm saying it right. Eggavans left several good comments on our Rebellion videos, some of which we're going to save for our positivity video, but this was a good one right at the end. So, no consideration for the possibility that #Homura did nothing wrong. First of all, Homura did not do anything wrong, so no,
she never does anything wrong.
We absolutely consider that. I actually sent Yasha and Vanna a Homura did nothing wrong sticker when I sent them their buttons.
In this house, we defend Homura's action.
I have always been of the opinion that Homura did nothing wrong, even as someone who called her wish fucking stupid.
I mean, sometimes you do stupid things, and they are not wrong.
And it's not wrong, but, you know, she has never done anything wrong in her entire life, just so that we've made that clear. It's interesting that Amanda considers the series ending to be a happy, hopeful one, and the Rebellion ending to be the edgy one, when the former is the one where everyone is dead, and Madoka is forced to spend eternity euthanizing magical girls, whereas the latter is the one where everyone is alive, and well, and living an idyllic magical girl super friend existence, Devil Homura's universe-sized playhouse.
I mean, they have a lot of points here, Amanda.
Yeah, well, of course we didn't get there in the healthiest way, but couldn't it be argued that Homura's path is the happiest one for everyone? Except for the Kyuubi's, which makes it even better. Yes, it could be argued that. Yeah, it could.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
I will argue that.
Yeah, here's the thing. You answered the question for me. You said, of course, we didn't get there in the healthiest way. And for me, that is the problem. You know, I mentioned this in, I think, one of the Rebellion episodes. I don't know what it is about these kind of stories. Maybe it just hits me on a personal level. But something about stories where doing the right thing is really hard, and it makes you sad having to do the right thing, but doing the right thing is what's better for everybody at the end. And it's the tragic ending where it's actually a happy ending. It's the classical tragic ending where it's sad, but you feel as if you have actually triumphed over something. There is nothing triumphant about the ending of Rebellion. The ending of Rebellion makes you feel bad. So,
well, it makes you feel bad.
It makes you great. If you look at it from a completely logical perspective, yes, you're correct. But I'm looking at it from how is it making me feel. That's what I'm looking. What am I getting out of this in terms of how this story is making me feel? The anime's ending makes me feel good. It makes me feel sad, but I'm proud of the characters for doing the right thing.
Yeah, that's, I think, the key difference is with the series, you can be proud of the characters' actions that led them there.
Yes.
And Rebellion doesn't give you that. Rebellion's question is, can you be happy in a cage?
I don't admire Homura at the end of Rebellion. I really admire Homura at the end of the anime. And you know, just the resilience that she has in the anime, and my personal interpretation of anime Homura. The resilience that she has, the transformation that she goes through, finally coming to terms with what Madoka really wants, and then being able to find some amount of peace with how things turned out. Being able to see her one last time, and finally being appreciated for everything that she did for her. That whole entire arc, and then vowing at the end of it all to keep fighting in her name because she knows that's what she really would have wanted. That whole thing, that story makes me happy and makes me feel good. Rebellion doesn't make me feel good. Rebellion is sad and edgy.
It is sad and
makes
edgy.
Me feel good.
I will, like, when we say, like, #Homura did nothing wrong, I know, like, we're saying Homura did nothing wrong, but I know what they mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that they don't mean the same thing we do. And I think, actually, Homura did nothing wrong. I actually thought it was really daring for them to have the ending where the villain idea of what the best option is the one that actually wins. And it is hard to say, is this really bad for anybody?
She really didn't do anything wrong in either case.
No.
But, like, we're not supposed to look up to or admire Homura, and I don't think necessarily that she looked up to or admired herself for doing the things she did in Rebellion.
No, she didn't.
There's something really compelling about the idea of doing the wrong thing, the thing that you know is going to stain your soul, and doing it out of love.
Yeah, you're doing the wrong thing for the right reason.
To take care of the people that you love.
Right.
That's also a very compelling image to me. And
well, the whole you have to make yourself dirty to help people or to do the right thing or to get anywhere or whatever is such a trope in media. And for them to go, yeah, you're right, you do.
Yeah, I know. But sometimes you actually do. Yeah, it's a cliche. Sometimes you actually do, though. And it is, to me, kind of nice to see somebody who's more concerned about the happiness of their friends than the state of their actions as whether they were moral or immoral. I like that. So, Rebellion makes me happy.
It's not a happy ending.
Let's not cast Devil Homura's actions as completely unselfish here, okay?
Oh no, they're totally selfish.
Okay, alright, okay.
I'm not saying that she's definitely getting something out of it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, doing the wrong thing is not necessarily something that, at least from my point of view, rules somebody out as a character to admire.
She does a little bit of a war crime, but you know.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got a war crime.
Sometimes you war crime.
And this is like making me think about how much I love the show. Because it's like such an interesting dynamic where Homura is selfishly insisting that everyone else's happiness is more important than hers. And
it's very martyr.
Yeah,
it's a tangle.
Madoka is very unselfishly insisting that her happiness does not matter, and like that's kind of where all the conflict is happening, right? Because Madoka is not taking into consideration the fact that Homura does care about her happiness, and Homura is not taking into consideration the fact that all of her friends do want to make sacrifices for other people, and she's not letting them.
She's like, no, I'm doing it.
Yeah. So everyone's intentions are good. Like, nobody did anything wrong. But, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can make the argument that nobody did anything wrong.
I'm just imagining these people trying to pay a bill and everyone just, like, going to blows over who's going to pay the bill at a restaurant. Yeah. Because that's Homura. She'll, like, send you all to hell to make you let her pay for the bill.
I will pay the bill.
Like, they're all in such a rush to make sacrifices for each other when it's like, no, what you should do is communicate who's going to sacrifice what, but everyone wants them.
Yeah. So, anyway, thank you. That was a great observation and question, Eggvins. I mean, if you see Rebellion as a happy ending, like, I can see how you would feel that way. Personally, I think it's an emotional thing for me. I don't think that the movie is framed in a way that makes me take it away as a happy ending. I think that it comes across way too much as something that I feel is meant to be taken away as clearly an unhappy ending.
I'm gonna say happy ending Rebellion fans tend to be the more gothy.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say it. We're the gothy people.
That's fine. That's totally fine. Yeah,
people.
Please, if you love this movie, love it. I don't want to take away your love for
There's like 100% chance you wear black makeup if you think Rebellion was a happy ending. I'm sorry.
Yes.
That's fair.
And I'm saying that very self-aware.
Yeah, I am sitting in my Sailor Moon room with purple walls, and I did draw myself as Madoka, so that maybe that checks out for me as someone who likes the ending. Yeah. Yeah. So we should probably close it out here, because we've gone on long enough. Thank you guys so much for listening / watching the show. Let's squeeze in some Patreon thank yous before we duck out here, because we do have, other than Sailor Cosmo, we do have, I think, one other new patron to say thank you to. Oh, we have a whole bunch of new ones. Thank you, Rashad Estes. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I really hope I am. Rashad Estes.
Thank you.
They are also a $10 a month patron. Thank you so much for supporting the show. You are awesome.
Thank you.
We have a new patron whose name is in here as Nobody. So thank you, Nobody, for being a patron.
Thanks, Nobody.
Yeah.
That's very rebellious.
Yes. And thank you to Ver, V-E-R, who is also a new patron. Thank you so much. You're the best.
Thank you.
Thank you for your support. And thank you, as always, to all of our patrons for your support of the show. So, yeah, that's going to be it for today. We do have the third Magireco episode on deck. Hopefully, I will be getting that out relatively soon. I think it's just been a matter of time, because I have to go through and take screenshots, which takes a while, but other than that, should be pretty soon. And that's it. So we will see everybody next time.
Wait, aren't we gonna plug
crap! We gotta do the plugs. Madoka Magicast on Twitter, Lambda Power on Twitter, Otori _NU on Twitter. What else?
I think that's it. That's good enough.
Yeah, that's easy enough. We're easy to find. We don't make ourselves hard to find.
Our producer Panda and Panda Nada on Twitter.
Yes.
Co-host Erin Cerise is Erin Cerise on Twitter. She joins us for Magireco episodes. Okay, yeah, anyway, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye!
Bye!